The thing about this project, right, it belongs to everybody. We don't talk about black, white, whatever. It belongs to everybody. It's all part of our history that's basically missing. Basically, it's you walking around without your arm or your leg and think you can function. Without this information, this country cannot function. And that's why we call it the People's Project. And one of our mottos is, let's make this a better world. We have, as Ennis quite rightly said, there's quite a lot of information that we have and historical information that we get through. And the people that we work with, this is a gentleman whose father was actually, I can't remember, was in the First World War, the Second World War, I can't remember. But again, he sent this to us and it talks about all the religions, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims. Well, you can see it at the top for yourself. As you can see, I'm a quick worker. This is the RAF Cosford, currently showing 100 years of West Indians' involvement in the Royal Air Force, yeah, which is quite surprising. People don't get it, you know, that we have been here a long, long time. Here we go. We're at RAF Cosford to actually launch the exhibition here. And this is what we do. This is the actual, the commander of all RAF Cosford. And we turn up, all of a sudden they come out with their cameras and everything. They want to know who we are. And as you can see, we've got veterans. This is the guys that went down to Cardiff Bay. And again, our community's been in Cardiff for a very, very, very long time, hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's the same for Bristol, Liverpool, Southampton, etc., etc. This gentleman here, he's part of the Royal Navy. As you can see, he's currently serving in the Royal Air Force, sorry, the Royal Majesty's Royal Navy. And as you can see, he's well endowed with medals. And we're very, very proud to have this gentleman on board. He just happens to be standing in the Menai Gates with the actual 6 recorded members of the British West Indian Regiment that are actually noted there. Can I get this thing off? Here we go. There you go, Walter Tull, one of our leading standard bearers, War of Warwickshire Regiments going back to the First World War. Again, a gentleman here served over 35 years in the Royal Air Force. Here we are on parade. I think this is Remembrance Sunday, perhaps, I don't know. But basically what we do, we expose all the information that other people don't want to expose. We expose the good and the bad, and the most important thing, it belongs to each and every one of us. And unless we accept that, we cannot make this a better place or move on. Carlson was talking about labelling. That's what the part and parcel problem is. As my secretary just recently informed me, people can't get used to this. St. George's Cross, held by a black man, they just can't, you know, they've seen it, but doesn't compute. Doesn't compute. Well, we've been fighting for that flag and the Union Jack for over 400 years, and we're still fighting for it now. But yet, people still cannot get it into their head that currently serving in the British Armed Forces in this country are, considering our community is one of the smallest community, we have probably one of the biggest percentages outside of the English, the Irish, the Scottish, and the Welsh. Nobody can take that away from us. To actually sort of reinforce that, back in the West Indies, Britain has regiments. They've had regiments going way back to slavery, and they've had regiments coming all the way forward. To help you along, the Colonel-in-Chief of the Jamaican regiment just happens to be Her Majesty the Queen. Now, you know she's got a number of regiments and squadrons around the world that all belong to her in all different countries. But when you tell people that, all of a sudden they start to scratch their heads. We go into schools, we go into anywhere that will have us. I'm sorry to say now, because of the cost of it all to us, we've had to start charging for events, you know, to attend events. You know, this is amazing. Just up the road, Birmingham Peace Gardens. It actually talks about Borneo. And the gentleman that you've seen from the Warwick Regiments, he actually served in Borneo. These are the things, the symbol of England, of the radical, whatever you want to call it, fascists or whatever they want to call themselves, is this symbol. But yet, blazoned right across, it says the West Indian Regiment. Now, battle honours as well. This gentleman here comes from the Caribbean. He just happens to be receiving his Victoria Cross from Prince Charles. This just happens to show that the Queen Elizabeth II's empire, this is what she inherited. This is her Commonwealth. This is how it looked. And when you look at it, you do not see colours, you see names. You know, it doesn't make no difference if these countries have changed their names to what it was, to what it is. And again, back, the point is, Her Majesty the Queen is actually in charge of that event, that country. She is loyal to them, and they are loyal to us as Britain. And people need to get this through their heads. One of the reasons why Britain is safe in the world is not because Britain is Britain, it's because Britain has a Commonwealth. And people do not know what the Commonwealth will do. When we go into the schools and the kids go off the wall, they can't understand what's going on, but the questions that they fire all the time is incredible. When we went up into a residential home, it was dominated by i.e. white people. In came the lads, and these women just went hell for leather at them. Oh, can I take a picture? They could hardly walk, but they were willing to get up and stand with them, and you know what I mean? You know, we got pictures of this, we got evidence of this. It's showing that when people are told and exposed the truth, they can make the right decision. You've heard of it when people go into a hospital, they're going in for an operation, probably to remove a little finger, and somehow something's gone wrong and off comes the leg. This is the same experiences that we're having in this country, that people do not understand what the Muslims did in the First or the Second World War, the Sikhs, the Hindus, the Christians that came from that part of the world. What about the Aborigines? What about the Maoris? They're completely forgotten. We've been whitewashed, but they've been completely forgotten. The point is, it's simple. The British West Indian, Caribbean, some people want to call themselves Afro-Caribbean. Somebody want to call themselves African. It don't make no difference what they want to call themselves. The history actually states quite clearly that when they went there at that time, they were referred to as West Indies. East India was called East India because of the West Indies. It's quite simple. Now, if you decide to take that out of the history book, along with that goes the history. This is our book, over 400 years of history. It tells it quite plainly and simply and easy for people to follow on the internet. You can hit our webpage, get more stories. If you want us, call us. We're willing to parade, bring our own entertainment. And people do get emotionally upset when they see the truth, because people then find out they're more closely related than they ever thought they were. Thank you.